In today's video, we'll be going over all of the new PlayStation 4 game releases this week, and game releases are finally heating back up, and after this week, we're gonna see game release after game release, so it's gonna be just like late in the fall where there's a lot of big games coming out, and this week is packed with a lot of exciting titles, so we'll go over all of them. Exactly 9 games to go over, and a lot of them are very interesting titles. But on top of that, we'll talk a little bit about the Resident Evil 2 demo. A lot of people played the demo, but only a small percentage of them actually were able to complete it in the allotted 30-minute window. Celeste was one of 2018's best games, and new DLC for the game has been detailed by the developer, and then I'll round out the video by taking a look at a fantastic deal that's available for Call of Duty Black Ops 4 right now. More on that at the end of this video. First, let's go over all of the new PS4 game releases this week. Again, a ton of games to go over. Couple big titles, a couple games that are going a little bit under the radar, but I'll give mention to all of them. First up, the biggest game of this week is Ace Combat 7 Skies Unknown. Now, this is a game that I think any other week, or any other month I should say, where there's not a ton of traction in the video game releases, there would be a lot more attention surrounding Ace Combat 7 Skies Unknown. However, it's coming just a week before the Resident Evil 2 remake, and a few days after the RE2 remake, we have Kingdom Hearts 3, so I think without a doubt, Ace Combat 7 kind of falls in at number 3 on the totem pole, and with a game like this, I would have imagined it to be getting a lot more attention, but the game itself is looking fantastic. Of course, the game has you become a pilot and soar through photorealistic skies with full 360-degree movement, down enemy aircraft, and experience the thrill of engaging in realistic battles. Aerial combat has never looked or felt better. The developers of the game also touted that this game would have a lot of content, almost 50 hours if you wanted to do everything, so it will be a plentiful game content-wise, and Ace Combat 7 Skies Unknown will be dropping on January 18th.
Or remain faithful for the gameplay perspective. You know, how do people actually...
Anyone who's played the game is going to be very comfortable. If they've played Ace Combat 6 or previous, they're going to be very comfortable going into the cockpit, you know, with the HUD displays, the combat system, everything.
Next up, here's one that's really going under the radar but looks phenomenal, and that is YIIK, a postmodern RPG. YIIK, a postmodern RPG, is described as a surreal Japanese-style RPG, and when a mysterious woman vanishes from an elevator in front of fresh graduate Alex's eyes, he assembles a squad of internet misfits to investigate her disappearance. In the game, you'll tackle turn-based battles with a novel blend of twitchy minigames, weird weapons, and weirder enemies. Visually, this has one of the most unique presentation styles I've ever seen. I really like what the game is going for, and it could be one of the surprising hits early of this year. We'll find out very soon, as YIIK, a postmodern RPG, is set to drop on January 17th. Next up, we have Hell Warders. Hell Warders is described as an action RPG that meets tower defense. It has you control powerful heroes, unleash devastating abilities, and deploy strategic defensive units in a brand new subgenre title. You'll create your defenses, set up archers, knights, mages, and catapults, choose their positions, upgrade their abilities, and create the strongest resistance possible. The game will also feature 4-player cooperative play, as Hell Warders drops on January 17th. Moving on from that, we have Smoke and Sacrifice. Smoke and Sacrifice is an open-world, narrative-driven RPG where exploiting living ecosystems is the key to your survival. You'll have to craft, fight, and survive, and explore the huge open world in this beautifully hand-painted gothic adventure where every character has their tale to tell. Smoke and Sacrifice drops on January 15th. Next up, we have Holy Potatoes, We're in Space. Now, just based off on the title of the game, you could tell that this is going to be a little wacky title. It's a space exploration game where you manage your very own spaceship. You'll have to craft hundreds of weapons and explore the vastness of a veggie-filled universe. The game looks pretty interesting. It's a little quirky, but we'll see how it turns out as it drops on January 15th. Next up, we have a very exciting remaster coming from the guys over at Capcom. Onimusha is making a comeback with the remaster of the very first title in Onimusha Warlords. Onimusha is a game that so many gamers have clamored for Capcom to see bring back. Capcom has brought back other franchises, and they've got a lot of established franchises, but Onimusha is one that I still think could make an impact to gaming today. We saw a bunch of games released on the PlayStation 2, but since then, Onimusha hasn't been seen until now. We're getting a remaster of the very first game. Now, the very first game was originally a PlayStation 2 title, so if they priced this game at $39.99 or god forbid $49.99, you just don't know what to expect with these remasters anymore. I would have had a very, very big issue with it, but Capcom seems to always get the pricing of their remasters right. They priced Okami HD at $19.99 and that was perfect, and Onimusha Warlords will also be priced at $19.99. What a great price point, and it'll be really interesting to see how this is received from a commercial standpoint, because if this does well enough, maybe we'll see Capcom go back into the vault and create a brand new Onimusha title. I think a lot of gamers would be all over that. We'll see though. It looks like Okami HD did pretty well commercially, and we haven't heard anything about a new Okami title, but it's only been a couple of years since that game was released, so maybe they're in the works of it, who knows. But at the very least, Onimusha was a fantastic game, and what you're getting for $19.99 is going to be great. Onimusha Warlords drops on January 15th.
That our Lord Nobunaga will rule the world with the demons.
Fight and die with honor!
A human? How disappointing. You can die here alone!
Next up, we have a long-awaited title. This one's been in development, and we've known about it for quite a while, and that is Vane. Vane is set in a forgotten and ruined land. A strange golden dust transforms a free-spirited bird into a lost child, setting off a chain of events that will reshape the world in unexpected ways. Based off that description, you probably don't know what the hell this game is about, but it looks to be a very narrative-driven experience where the narrative isn't completely smacked at you in the face. Think of something like Journey or Flower. It really reminds me of a That Game Company title, and hey, that's a very positive thing to say about any game, so you can see why gamers are excited for Vane. Visually, it looks tremendous, and this could be another one of those very surprising games of early 2019. We'll find out very soon, as Vane is dropping on January 15th, and by the way, if you head on over to the PlayStation Store, there's a special one-time price for pre-ordering the title, and you do instantly receive a Vane dynamic theme, so that's something to note if you do want to pre-order the game. And lastly, and this one's very exciting, The Walking Dead, the final season, is finally making a comeback with episode 3. Thank God for Skybound Games, because without them, I don't know if Telltale's The Walking Dead would have seen a definitive end. Of course, Telltale Games has had a lot of issues over the last few months. They closed their doors in the midst of The Walking Dead, the final season being released, and that begged the question, is this game gonna be finished up? Thankfully, Skybound Games picked it up, and yes, we'll see the release of episodes 3 and 4, and episode 3 is dropping in just a few days. Kind of a shame to see what happens to Telltale's other projects. I don't know if we'll ever see The Wolf Among Us Season 2, but at the very least, it's good to see that The Walking Dead, the final season, is going to be wrapped up. Episode 3 drops on January 15th. So those are all of the new PS4 game releases coming this week. Again, an absolutely packed week, a lot of exciting game releases. We've got Ace Combat 7, Y2K, Vane, Onimusha Warlords, a lot of titles to be excited for. But moving on from that, we also want to quickly talk about a couple of other things. The Resident Evil 2 demo player count has surpassed 1 million players. Obviously, it's a free demo, so I imagine a lot of people checked it out, but what's really interesting is how many people actually completed the demo. Now, obviously, there was a 30-minute window for you to play through the demo. If you know what you're doing and you know the layout of Resident Evil 2, you can easily complete it in just a couple of minutes. Honestly, you could probably complete it in 5 minutes if you just bursted your way through, but there's a lot of exploration that could be done, and actually, only 29% of players were able to complete the demo within the 30-minute allotted time window. There were different pathways you could go and other things you could discover outside of just rushing through and beating the demo, so I think that's what the majority of people were doing. And even for somebody like me, I had the 30-minute window in my head, but I still just wanted to explore and see what the demo had to offer. Obviously, if you want to play the demo multiple times, it's not all too difficult to figure out a way to do so. Just have a couple of PlayStation Network accounts ready to download the demo and you'll be fine. But again, 1 million people have tried out the demo, so obviously there is some interest in RE2. I think that goes without saying, but only 29% of people were able to finish it up. Moving on from that, Celeste was one of the best games of 2018, one of the best platformers of all of this generation, and it's gonna have some DLC that was detailed by the way of a Twitter post from Matt Thorson. Here's what he said. Some Celeste DLC chapters details. Quote, it won't be ready for the anniversary on January 25th, sorry. It's all one continuous chapter, no B-side. It's after the current hardest levels in difficulty, no strawberries. There are some new items and mechanics and free on all platforms, so that's great. The DLC for Celeste is gonna be absolutely free. The game seems to be doing pretty well, and critically, of course, it was received very, very well, so good to see that game continuing to get more content. And lastly, I want to quickly give a shout out to Best Buy right now, as they've got a copy of Call of Duty Black Ops 4 on the PlayStation 4 for $29.99. If you still have your Gamers Club Unlocked subscription, this will stack and you'll end up getting the game for $24, which is an exceptional deal for Black Ops 4. Kind of surprising, because if you were familiar with Call of Duty games back in the day, these games would very rarely go on sale, and it's kind of crazy to see Black Ops 4 just getting cheaper and cheaper. It's not like this game did bad from a sales standpoint, but I guess Activision has finally bit the bullet, and now they'll put their games at a discount. That's great to see. $30 for Black Ops 4 is really good, and of course, if you're into multiplayer Call of Duty, this is the one to get, because it doesn't have a single player component, but a lot of multiplayer content, Blackout, traditional multiplayer, and how could you forget about the zombies? That is fantastic. $30 for the game's a great buy. $24 for GCU members is even better. So that's gonna conclude this video. Again, a lot of big PS4 game releases this week. The Resident Evil 2 demo had 1 million players try it out. Celeste is getting some brand new DLC, and it'll be absolutely free, and Call of Duty Black Ops 4 for $30 at Best Buy. Check it out, that's a great deal. That's gonna conclude this video. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.